After all the struggles and hardships, Huyen's family has finally returned to their old home in the countryside. Welcome back, everyone. Today we're diving into the fear that haunts our heroine as she returns to her roots. What will Ji do to help Huyen escape the shadow of that haunting past? Will their life truly turn out to be as happy as they hope for? Stay with us as we uncover the twists ahead. Before we dive into it, make sure to subscribe and turn on notifications so you never miss an update on the latest happenings in their journey. You won't want to miss what's coming next. The door creaked open and Huyen stepped back into her old home, holding Maya in her arms. As they crossed the threshold, memories came flooding back, overwhelming her all at once. She never imagined that she would return to this house, the very place that once felt like a prison, where every day was filled with pain and suffocating memories. She had promised herself years ago that she would escape this place, build a better life, far away somewhere that could offer her the peace she longed for. Somewhere that could help her forget the torment she'd endured here. But now, against everything she had hoped for, she was back. But this time was different. She wasn't coming back to relive the nightmare. She had returned with a new purpose, a new hope. She was determined to create a life of happiness alongside Jay, and to give Maya the opportunity to go to school, to grow up with the future she deserved. As Huyen walked through the familiar rooms, each step weighed heavily on her heart. But there was a spark of something new now, hope, and the belief that this time she could rebuild her life here, not as a prisoner of her past, but as a mother striving for a better tomorrow. Jay watched Huyen, noticing the sadness that clouded her eyes as she silently drifted into painful thoughts of the past. He couldn't change what had happened to her, but right now, he was here with her, standing beside her. He approached gently, placing a comforting hand on her shoulder, trying to offer some kind of solace. In this place, her youth had been crushed under the weight of her toxic past, buried beneath the cruelty of a husband who was not only an alcoholic, but a man who spent his days drinking with friends and his nights tormenting her. He was jobless, unmotivated, and as the days wore on, she had become nothing more than a tool to earn money for his reckless habits. The bruises from those years weren't just physical. They were emotional scars etched deeply into her heart. She tried God. How many times had she tried to reason with him to get him to change? But each attempt was met with failure. The beatings only got worse. The pain grew unbearable, yet all she could do was endure it. Her one and only wish was for Maya to have a father, even if that father was someone who brought only harm. Every so often, her husband would show signs of regret, but those moments were fleeting. It would only take a few days before he slipped back into his old destructive ways. She began to lose hope, feeling helpless against the forces that were slowly destroying her life. She wanted out so badly, but she couldn't find the strength to escape. And here she was standing in the ruins of that past, trying to reconcile the woman she had been with, the woman she longed to become. With Joe by her side, though maybe, just maybe, there was a chance for a different future. But that future was still so far away, and the shadows of her past clung to her like chains. In the darkest period of her life, Huyen found an unexpected light in Jay, a man with a heart full of compassion. When Ji first saw the misery Huyen was living through, he couldn't just stand by and watch her suffer. He recognized her pain and knew he had to do something to help her escape the nightmare she was trapped in. His kindness and empathy were genuine, and he wanted nothing more than to save her from the never-ending torment she was enduring. However, the road to helping Huyen wasn't as simple as he imagined. When Jay tried to approach her, offering comfort and assistance, her ex-husband reacted violently. Enraged by Jay's involvement in Huyen's life, he ruthlessly attacked him. It was in that brutal moment that Ji realized just how deeply rooted Huyen's ex-husband's control was over her and just how much danger she faced. Despite the physical pain he endured, Jay never hesitated to stay by Huyen's side. He was the one who cared for her, soothing her wounds, both physical and emotional. He patiently helped her navigate through the pain and despair that consumed her. In time, their bond grew stronger, and Ji knew deep down that he would dedicate himself to caring for her for the rest of his life. It wasn't just about healing her wounds. It was about offering her a life filled with love, peace, and happiness that she deserved, but had never experienced before. But just as they began to build something beautiful together, their happiness was once again threatened. Huyen's ex-husband, unwilling to let her go, launched a campaign of fear and destruction that forced her to leave her hometown. This heartbreaking separation tore Ji and Huyen apart. They lost touch, and the silence between them was deafening as they were forced to live without each other. Months passed, but Ji's love and determination never faded. He refused to give up on Huyen, even though the odds seemed insurmountable. He searched tirelessly for her, following any lead he could, hoping that somehow their paths would cross again. Eventually, fate smiled upon him. He found Huyen, but it was no longer in their hometown. She had moved far away, seeking solace in a new place, away from the painful memories of the past. And in this new place, they were reunited not to revisit the suffering that had once consumed their lives, but to start fresh, to create a new future together. Together, they decided to leave the past behind to forge a new path forward. They weren't going back to the pain and trauma that had defined their earlier lives. This time, they were committed to building something better, something full of love, hope, and the promise of a brighter future. The road ahead wouldn't be easy, but with each other by their side, Jay and Huyen knew that anything was possible. Huyen couldn't shake the fear that one day her past would come rushing back to ruin the life she was trying to build with Joe. She was haunted by the possibility that her ex-husband would return, disrupting the fragile peace they had fought so hard to create. The thought of him showing up, wreaking havoc, once again filled her with dread. She worried constantly, what if one day Ji and she were torn apart again? What if all their dreams of a peaceful life together were shattered? But Jay, as always, reassured her with a calm strength that only he could offer. He gently reminded her that nothing could break the bond they had formed. There's nothing that can stand in the way of our love. He said, his voice full of conviction. You and Maya are the greatest gifts that life has given me. As long as I have you by my side, I will be stronger than ever, ready to protect both of you from anything that comes our way. His words hit Huyen deeply, and for the first time in a while, she felt a sense of relief. The weight of her worries seemed to lift. She realized in that moment that happiness wasn't about avoiding struggles, but about finding peace and strength in each other. Maya, who had been tense and anxious, was now smiling, no longer overwhelmed by fear. She could see the love between Huyen and Jae, and it comforted her. Sometimes happiness was just about being together in the here and now with the people you love. Huyen's simple wish was to see Maya in school, to watch her grow and thrive. She didn't need grand things, just a small, peaceful life where she could tend to her garden-raised fish in their pond and take care of her family. This simple, quiet life was all she had ever wanted. And Ji, understanding her heart, promised that he would make it happen. The next day, he was going to buy the materials they needed to restore the abandoned pond and cultivate the land. It had been neglected for so long, but with some effort, it could be revived. He was determined to make it work, so Huyen could have the peaceful life she dreamed of. Today's chapter ends here, but there's so much more to their story. To stay updated on their journey and see what happens next, don't forget to subscribe and hit the notification bell. More updates are coming soon.
Sau tất cả những gì bao chông gai kể ra, Đình Huyền và anh đệ Maya đã trở về ngôi nhà cũ ở quê hương. Chào mừng các bạn quay trở lại với chúng tôi. Hôm nay hãy cùng nhau tìm hiểu nỗi sợ hãi nào đang ám ảnh nữ chính khi trở về quê hương. Anh đệ sẽ làm gì để Huyền thoát khỏi cái bóng ma ám ảnh đó, và cuộc sống của họ có được hạnh phúc như họ đang mong đợi hay không? Chúng ta hãy cùng tìm hiểu nhé. Trước hết, hãy đăng ký kênh và bật chuông thông báo để không bỏ qua những diễn biến chính xung quanh cuộc đời của Huyền và anh đệ. Cánh cửa cổng bắt đầu được mở ra. Huyền bế trên tay là Maya quay trở lại căn nhà cũ trước đây, bước vào trong những ký ức đau buồn bỗng ùa về. Cô ấy không thể tưởng tượng được một ngày nào đó mình lại trở về căn nhà này, căn nhà đã khiến cô như sống trong địa ngục. Cô ấy đã tự hứa với bản thân rằng cô ấy sẽ thoát khỏi ngôi nhà này và sẽ không bao giờ quay trở về đây một lần nào nữa. Nhưng giờ đây, vì nhiều hoàn cảnh nên cô đã trở lại nơi này, trở về căn nhà mà cô từng coi là địa ngục. Giờ đây cô ấy trở về chỉ có một ước mơ, có một cuộc sống hạnh phúc bên cạnh anh đệ và Maya. Anh đệ nhìn thấy sự buồn bã của Huyền, cũng hiểu ra phần nào những ký ức đau khổ của Huyền lại ùa về. Anh ấy an ủi Huyền và tự hứa sẽ cố gắng hơn để mang lại hạnh phúc cho gia đình.